In the shadows of 19th century Gotham, a mysterious figure emerged from the crime-shrouded fog of despair. Arnod Wesker, a puppeteer. He modeled himself after great puppeteers of his time. Wesker was once a renowned performer, his marionettes enchanting audiences with their realistic movements. He had the ability to cast his voice in such a way that it sounded as if it was coming from other places, or even his own puppets. His gift for ventriloquism drew crowds. He and his sister Patricia traveled with a group of performers. All was going well, but his life went dark after a deadly fire burned down his troupe. This left him scarred in body and mind. In the fire and ash, Wesker lost track of his sister. He could not find her no matter how hard he tried. Haunted by shame and madness, he created a wooden dummy from the charred remains of his puppets, which he named Scarface, after the abnormal burn scar which bisected its face. Scarface was not a regular puppet, though. Wesker's fractured mind believed that the dummy was in fact alive, but lived a life of brutality and tyranny. Scarface had no respect for Wesker, denigrating him as weak and useless, yet prodding him to carry out flagrant crimes. Together they were a classic duo, their exploits ringing equally in the same tune as the anarchy of the frontierless world, only with a disgusting spin that raised shivers along the spines of Gotham's citizens. Wesker and Scarface terrorized Gotham from the very start of their reign, beginning with a brazen train heist. The job was so meticulously planned that it earned Wesker the nickname the Ventriloquist. Disguised as a traveling performer, Wesker boarded a luxury train bound for Gotham, his puppet hidden in an old trunk. As the train rumbled down the countryside, Scarface's voice, a rasping snarl that seemed to emanate from the void, told Wesker to steal the gold stored in the cargo car. Wesker, a battle-hardened Civil War veteran when he was a young man, knew the techniques of strategy and logistics, but Scarface told them what to do. The robbery was successful, but it cost them dearly. Scarface's vicious commands led to the killing of several guards, leaving Wesker racked with guilt and helplessness. With each kill command from Scarface, Wesker's soul would perish somewhat, yet he was helpless to disobey the dummy's directives. The robbery thrust the duo to fame, their legend growing with each new telling, as was the case with the tales of other notorious criminals of the time. With each heist after that, their criminal reputation skyrocketed. However, in contrast to the roughnecks of the frontier, the crimes of Wesker were dramatized, as if every move was made for an unseen audience. The authorities were hard-pressed to pin the ventriloquist down. The city council and Mayor Sharp hired the Pinkerton Detective Agency to help put a stop to the criminal's reign of terror. As the ventriloquist's infamy increased, whispers of his deeds reached the ears of the Batman. The Bat prowled Gotham's gaslit alleys under cover of darkness. Learning of the stories of the mad puppeteer and his wooden accomplice, the Batman went about unraveling the threads of Wesker's past. He discovered that Wesker was once a protege of a famous puppeteer whose marionettes were said to be so lifelike they moved on their own. Wesker, however, was expelled after being accused of appropriating his master's secrets, a treachery that had smoldered in Wesker's mind. The Bat also uncovered a malevolent connection. Scarface had been crafted from the same wood as a marionette once owned by a toy maker, whose puppets were rumored to have a mysterious, near-magical life force. They had been supposedly crafted in the colonial days, carved from the trees used to hang criminals for their crimes. These very puppets had somehow been acquired by Wesker before the fire that destroyed his troupe. He had crafted Scarface from their remains. In the midst of the ventriloquist's crime spree, the Pinkerton Detective Agency had already begun an investigation into him. They had been working diligently to dismantle Scarface's gang, their detectives closing in on the cunning duo, day by day. The Pinkertons weren't the only ones on the criminal's tail. The showdown between the Batman and the ventriloquist occurred in an empty theater on Gotham's outskirts. Wesker thought that Scarface was the actual criminal mastermind and prepared one final show, a gold reserve robbery. As the Bat plummeted out of the rafters, Wesker's dummy seemed to come to life, its wooden joints jerking with unnatural energy. You can't stop us, Bat, Scarface screamed, his voice echoing in the empty hall. But the Batman, a veteran crime fighter by now, had come prepared. He came swinging with lightning justice and knocked Scarface wide open, hollow shell and all, snuffing out the dummy's devilish voice. Wesker, crushed and sobbing, fell on the floor, his mind now free from the cruel puppet. As the bat headed for the door, a sudden shot went off. Wesker's body jerked and fell to the ground, a crimson pool of blood spreading around him. Out of the shadows emerged a Pinkerton agent, his smoking revolver clutched in his hand. "Justice is served," the agent said, storing his revolver. The bat looked on in shock, surmising that the agent had followed him. The Batman moved to disarm the Pinkerton agent, but more of them appeared. The vigilante, weighing his options, vanished into the night, leaving behind the corpse of the ventriloquist and the shattered remains of Scarface. Whispers circulated during the following weeks of the return of a new ventriloquist in the Gotham underworld. Some attributed it to Wesker returned from the dead. Others, some of the witnesses, testified to a woman and her new Scarface marionette. The Batman, ever vigilant, watched in the shadows, fully cognizant that the legend of the ventriloquist was far from over. The tale of Arnod Wesker was a warning, a story of a man lost to the wood and the whispers, only to meet a sudden and brutal end. The Pinkerton agent who had shot Wesker, James Corrigan, was lauded as a hero by the city. Decades later, some speculate that Wesker's dummy inspired gangster Al Capone's nickname of Scarface. Regardless, after the ventriloquist's rampage, the strings of fate still tugged from the shadows, and the curtain was raised on a new act in Gotham's endless drama of crime.